everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from chilly Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up today, Dan, sudden unexpected displays of devotion.
It's kind of fun. Here's the thing. Okay, here's what we're going to talk about. This was inspired by a real event that happened this very evening.
Yeah.
Which is that we are in...
The lead-in for was, what's that drumming?
What's happening?
What's that noise?
What is going on? And what are you hearing that? I literally started singing the drummer boy because there was drumming happening in my neighborhood.
No, yeah.
And then we looked out my window,
and that's not what it was, but there was a drummer boy.
there were a few.
There were a handful, weren't there?
Yeah.
All right, well, cool. We'll get to that in a little bit. But first, Dan,
Yeah.
an apology.
Oh. You're sorry. I'm sorry. Which one of us is sorry? Are you apologizing to me?
Fortunately, this time it has to do with neither of us.
Oh, okay. Thank goodness.
Has to do with American Airlines.
Oh?
Yeah.
Oh.
You know,
They owe me an apology.
aren't they the friendly skies? Isn't
Apparently.
that what they're known for being? Well, recently, the incident happened back in October.
Okay.
But it really started to get some traction online recently, and some articles have come out, and it kind of made its round around the social media sphere. But a passenger by the name of Swati Rooney Goyle.
Okay.
Okay.
You don't have to make up names, Frank.
That's a real name.
Oh, okay.
She's a 49-year-old woman from Key West, and she had boarded an American Airlines flight from Miami to Las Vegas, and she was wearing a T-shirt that read, "Hail Satan."
Sure.
Now, you know, that's going to ruffle some people's feathers,
Sure.
but you normally wouldn't expect the reaction that she got.
Oh.
Which is the flight crew asked her to gather her things and come to the front of the plane.
Okay.
And she says, at which point I thought, oh, great, we're being upgraded.
Uh-huh.
And then there was a little bit of back and forth between the flight crew and the flight attendants and everybody and her husband and her. And that's when they realized, she and her husband, that the flight attendant that they were really dealing with was serious about them getting up and getting off of the flight.
She was kicked off the flight?
Yeah. And as they sort of talk through this whole thing, it comes out that, let's see, the flight crew was asking her to change her shirt on the grounds that it was offensive. Change her shirt or get off the flight.
Oh, my God.
Right? Because it was, quote, offensive. And they actually have specific conditions of carriage listed on their website, on American Airlines website.
Okay.
That says, dress appropriately, bare feet or offensive clothing aren't allowed.
Okay.
And so they were saying that this was
no MAGA
offensive.
hats?
Well, yeah, exactly, right? Like, they picked her out specifically for this T-shirt that she'd actually bought from the Satanic Temple.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
they
They have a lovely clothing line.
Yeah, exactly.
But Hail Satan is not the same, even though, don't try to tell a Christian this because they won't believe you. But Hail Satan is actually not the same as fuck Christians.
But that's how they see it.
Right. But what I'm saying is, well, I would totally be on board if they were like, you can't wear a fuck Christian's shirt on the.
Oh, right. Because that is, I think, profanity on the T-shirt. You have a case for it's offensive.
Well, and
you
also
depending on what it says.
Also,
right?
something that offends and that attacks a whole group of people.
Sure, that could be offensive.
Yeah. Even if it doesn't have any profanity, but if it says gay people suck or whatever, that would be
that happens though.
Well, what, the gay people sucking?
Yeah, that happens.
They do suck
from time to time. But
good Lord.
But no, Dan. So American Airlines now is actually trying to make things right. They have apologized.
Okay.
And they've actually offered Goyle some free flights.
Okay.
Well, a refund for her flight, I guess, which isn't.
Oh no, you're gonna
you need more.
You're gonna fly me around some, kids. Also, I'm now a Diamond Medallion member.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. You know what? I'd take a whole bunch of upgrades.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Sure.
Why not? I'll still pay for coach. You're gonna put me up there for a while.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Like that. I'd be fine with that. She's
gonna
actually
make this
come out,
right.
she says she doesn't want anything free. She wants apologies from the
Yes.
flight attendants, not the airline. A little too easy, American Airlines. Your PR
Interesting.
department, you're good at that, right?
Huh.
And she wants training for all American Airlines employees about religious discrimination.
Oh wow, she's really going for it.
Yeah.
I would not have taken that route. I would 100% have been like, okay, well, I can make this a much bigger stink than it is now, or, and hear me out on this. Here we go. Get your checkbook because we're gonna start writing.
She says, I want people to understand that if I were wearing a Blessed by Jesus t-shirt,
Yeah.
right, or a Star of David, or something that says Praise be Allah, that I should be treated the same wearing a Hail Satan t-shirt.
100%. It makes me want to. That's my new travel clothes. I am going to buy Satan gear,
Absolutely.
and that's my new travel clothes.
Yeah. But you might run into a flight crew like this one that,
Yeah.
if nothing else, they're just like, if the good Lord's going to like make a plane crash today,
There is that question.
it's going to be this one. If we let this stand.
Son of a bitch. I just can't. Lord Jesus. I know you're there. I know you like all these people, but there's that one, and I'm worried about her.
She's going to drag us all to hell. All of us.
Oh, my God.
One bad apple.
Ugh, be much more worried about how much that pilot's had to drink. Anyway, interesting, fascinating, and when I say that I'm going to buy devil-branded clothing, and that's all I'm going to fly in for the rest of my life,
Yeah.
just know I'm not kidding. I'm actually going to do that.
Oh, good. You should. You absolutely should.
But I think I've missed the boat on the free stuff. We'll see. And I fly mostly Delta, and they don't care about
they
Satan.
don't care at all.
Satan probably owns Delta. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to take... Here we are in these United States, and I don't know if you're aware of this tradition, but we, as a culture, provide names for our young, for the babies.
We do the choosing.
We
and the
choose
naming.
some names, and the babies, that's their moniker for the
And
rest.
you get no say in it.
You
Did
get...
I want to be Frank?
No. Who would want that? That's a fate worse than death. It's terrible.
It's not a good child's name.
It is kind of weird.
Frank. It's a very adult name.
It does feel like an adult name.
So, and it's also a name that I don't know a soul who just calls me Frank.
Oh, yeah?
No, why would they? Like people at work, I guess. But it's always Francis or Franklin or Frankie or it's anything but my name.
Which none of those are actually your name.
None, no.
Your name is just Frank.
And people are always shocked when they find out
Right.
that my name's not actually Franklin.
Right.
Right.
Because that's the one I call you.
Right. More so that surely Frank is short for something.
It's got to be short for something.
Nobody would just be called Frank.
Frank. Pfft, that's only one syllable. Anyway, I was you and I were discussing names, and I was talking about the top names of our generation.
Yeah.
The big boy names of the year we were born.
Right.
Frank wasn't in the top 20, but Daniel was.
Yeah.
No longer in the top 20, Daniel.
Oh, Dan.
But I'll tell you what is in the top 10 now for boys. Just made it, according to babycenter.com. Muhammad.
In these United States.
In these United States.
Wow.
Yeah. Made it above, like, I would have thought that Carlos or whatever would have been
No.
above that, but
I don't mean this like in any sort of negative way, I guess. But Muslims like the name Muhammad.
Yeah, and they
do.
And so many of Muslim families name their firstborn Muhammad.
Yeah.
That is just like a tradition. It's to honor the prophet. It's whatever.
Yeah. So there are in Islam, there are so many Muhammads.
Right. Yeah. And so many nicknames for Muhammad. And so just so that you don't have to say Muhammad and 50 men turn around and you're like, no, him, that one.
Yeah. Yeah. You thought it was bad with Jason in the 80s.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Or Chris or
Michael.
Michael, that was the top.
Michael's the worst one.
Yeah.
Anyway, none of those are in the top now. It's a whole new world.
I want to hear.
I'll tell you what, Muhammad kicked Mason out of the top 10.
Mason.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. On the girls' side, number 10, another Arabic name.
What?
Aliyah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. What else?
Which actually kicked another Arabic name out of the top 10, which is Layla.
Really?
Yeah.
Is this the first time this is the first time Muhammad's been on the list.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep, but it's been moving steadily up. They've been watching it go just sort of skyrocket in the States. I mean, it's all over the world. You know, there's a billion Muslims all over the world.
Like
so
that,
so it's like there's a lot of Muhammads.
Are there any other?
I'll tell you, there are some ones that surprise me. There are obviously always some biblical names. But
Good Christian names.
But the biblical names are not what I mean. It used to be. It was Daniel was a big one and whatever. Now you got Noah is number 3.
Okay.
I think Lucas is a biblical name, and that's number 7.
Okay.
So that's interesting. Some of these names, I am shocked at how popular some of these. Oh, and Elijah is number 8. That's another biblical.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Elijah. But I will say,
like Eli's then going to be wandering around the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about this, though? Number 1 boy's name? Liam. I'm really surprised by that.
What is wrong with the world?
What are you people doing? Listen, breeders.
These aren't names.
This is no good. Jackson, Grayson.
No.
Grayson comes in at number 5. Come on.
No. Back in my day,
Caden, no.
we had real names.
These are terrible names. Apparently, Game of Thrones has had its influence because number 5 on the girls' side is Arya.
Oh dear God.
Yeah.
Why, people?
And Sophia has remained number 1 across this nation of ours for like a decade on the girls' side.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, Sophia.
Sophia. I mean, it's a nice name.
Sure, it's a great name, and yeah, you got to have you'll have your Latin people that are naming their daughters
name,
Sophia, but like also it's just white folks.
It's a nice name.
Yeah. Still, doesn't seem
After
like
all these years.
Doesn't seem like it would be.
It's really interesting because names have such a kind of ebb and flow popularity thing.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. Well, that's a thing, I guess.
There you go.
Yeah, I remember my mom was always she thought that she was so proud of her pick for a boy's name for my older brother.
Uh-huh.
Because up until that point there hadn't been a lot of Matthews.
Oh my
and
God.
She thought that she would picked a name that was going to just be like, that's a good solid name. You don't hear it very often.
Right, yeah.
And she was like, I guess the forefront in the 60s of that name.
The
like,
wave of
making
Matts.
a huge
Everybody's a Matthew
impression.
forever. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
All right. Well, Dan, this story I wanted to bring up, it actually is a topic that we've talked a lot about on the show, which is African nations making homosexuality illegal.
Oh, they love to do it.
Right. Through and either there's all sorts of different, punishments and penalties, but on the list include life imprisonment and death penalty, depending on where you're at in the world.
This show, if we bring up Africa in this show, it's not a good story. Let me just point out.
I'm sure there are plenty of good stories coming out of Africa.
Sure. Yeah, but on this show.
Not this show.
Unfortunately.
Well, Dan,
Yeah.
I would say that goes for a lot of places.
Yeah, that's true. We talk about the bad things that happen anyway.
Yeah.
But we try to talk about good things when we find them.
Yeah.
But on the religious front, Africa's not doing great.
If it's gotten our attention, yeah, okay. Anyway, well, the reason that I wanted to bring this one up is that a lot of these laws, in essence, we've talked about them when they're being passed, when the idea of it being a crime is more hypothetical than actually put into practice, right, by law enforcement. Well, there are currently 47 men on trial in Nigeria under their anti-homosexuality laws currently. It sounds like it's kind of a giant trial. They were all picked up as part of the same raid or whatever. An incident that the police described as being an initiation ceremony into a gay club.
Oh.
And that the men at the event describe as being a birthday party.
Oh my God.
I don't know how you come away with that
disparity.
Because, I was, when I read the police account of the whole thing, I was like, well, good on them having a gay club.
I know.
Right?
Kind of they've got secret codes.
Yeah. And I don't know exactly what the initiation might look like, but good on them.
Have fun with it.
Good for you guys. And then I read like the next part and I was like, fuck you, police.
Yeah.
Good God. Talk about just like,
there's too many men at this party.
Yeah.
You must be a gay club. Some sort of underground gay.
What's that round thing over there with candles on it? Some sort of initiation rite.
Obviously, that is
balloons.
What do they symbolize? Queers. You disgust me with your pointy hats.
There's a red one. There's an orange one.
It's a rainbow.
You kind of have to imagine it, but you put them all in a line, and you got yourself a rainbow.
I think I'm really enjoying the redneck Africans. Most of the cops in Africa are out of the American South, I think. I think that's it's a known fact.
Anyway,
I
do like I like something about that. But here we go, Dan.
Yeah.
So they are currently, like I said, on trial in Nigeria. This offense that they're being charged with carries a 10-year jail term. And essentially, a lot of the sort of campaigners and advocates for the gay community are really, I mean, obviously, this needs to go the right way, but they're seeing this as a test. Mm-hmm. Everybody's seeing it as a test of this law and laws like this in Nigeria.
Right.
So this is from Zenarth Muhammad. He's the executive director of the it's called the Initiative for Equal Rights. He said the law had historically been used to harass and to blackmail, right?
Right.
But but to this point, they'd never seen any convictions, right? And they'd never seen people actually put on trial and actually like the police would like round up some people and say, you know what, we're going to ruin you.
And then they shake them down.
Oh,
God.
And so, let's see, the men, they've been granted bail, about a bit over $1,000 bail, which this was actually happened in a impoverished area.
Yeah.
So we're talking about quite a bit of money. And this trial is likely to go on for several months. Like it's just a mess.
Well, and their lives are. Now they're in the public eye as gay men, and that's just going to make their lives so miserable. What a nightmare.
Yeah.
What a bullshit. Well, at least the whole question is fixed in this country. At least everything's all better here.
I mean, you say that. And we're in a pretty good place.
I'm joking. It's not.
We're in a good place.
We're in a much better place than
Right.
that.
But things are always in flux.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't trust any of it.
There's
And I don't hold out.
good strong backlash.
I want there to be hope for these men in Nigeria.
But to the takeaway from this is not, oh well, these United States.
No. No.
Well, we got it rough too. No.
No.
We're in a good place comparatively speaking.
Yeah.
So
I wish them well. Okay.
I know. But hopefully I'm going to try to follow and
Okay.
and maybe we'll be revisiting that story.
Cool.
And hopefully it's a good turn.
Yeah. Cool. I'm going to take us to the Holy See itself. The little country
Oh, that Holy See.
in contained in the bigger country.
I was wondering about some body of water somewhere.
Nope. This is the SEE, the Vatican,
Yeah.
where a new report has come out. Basically this came out in the Wall Street Journal. They apparently reported that. Okay, so we've talked about this fairly recently. There's a fund within the Catholic Church that is that is told to their parishioners it is their charity fund. And they have a big drive to fill those coffers every year, I think around June, something like that.
That was splendid.
It's called Peter's Pence.
Oh.
Peter Piper picks
Good name.
Yeah, exactly.
Solid name.
And you give to it, and that's not for the church, that's to go to charity. That is their charity fund.
This is a fantastic program.
Sure.
Just charity.
Yes.
That's great. Good on them.
What percentage of those donations would you say would go to actual charity?
Well, let's see. I mean, there's going to be some overhead.
Sure,
Right.
sure,
There's going to be some sort of managerial and,
It'd be reasonable.
administrative type stuff.
Absolutely.
Maybe some rents to pay.
100% reasonable. Even
Obviously, some villas to buy for someone.
Okay, we're getting less reasonable, but we know the Catholic Church, so we know what's happening.
I mean, I think it would be appalling, especially if they say that it's that this is truly just this is the charity.
This
fund.
isn't the collection plate that's funding the church.
Right.
This is just the charity.
I think
fund.
it would be appalling if it was anything under like 80%.
So you wouldn't like the number 10 then?
That
10%
that goes toward administrative fees.
No. 10 that goes to charity.
Oh, No.
Yeah.
No, Dan.
Yeah. Apparently that's what the Journal is reporting. It is about
90% goes to overhead?
90%
Staffing?
No. It is going to to trying to pay for the Vatican's crippling budget deficit that has been increasing and increasing under Pope Francis's reign. He's trying to he just fired one of his finance guys and whatever, but apparently shit's gone so slaunch-wise that literally they're literally stealing from the poor to fund it, to finance this goddamn church.
Guess what's going to dry up this year?
You would
want
hope that to happen.
You would hope that people go, no.
Yeah.
That probably won't happen. But,
yeah.
Oh, God. Ooh, that's bad. Yeah. You know what they need to do, Dan?
What?
They need to have some meetings with the folks downtown at the Mormon church.
Yeah.
Because those people have more money than they know what to do with at this point. But they didn't always. They were in trouble. They were in deep trouble.
Yeah.
Just 60 years ago. 70 years ago.
But they beat that.
And they turned it around.
Yeah.
And so they don't do like the traditional how you fund a religion thing anymore. No, you'd be a fool to do it.
No. Yeah, that's the thing. Mormonism is like all of the big organized religions. They're hemorrhaging
members, you mean?
members.
Yeah.
or at least tithe-paying members.
Yeah.
They're bringing in members
in the third world.
that pay nothing.
Right.
So if they were run entirely on tithing, they'd be screwed.
Right.
But they're not. They're billions of dollars in investments that are paying out richly for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. Yep. But apparently, not so much the Catholics.
I find that
How is
shocking.
that that must be impossible. Because we reported just a couple weeks ago on the Catholics how they got swindled in some London real estate nonsense.
Yeah.
They're investing. They're just idiots about it. This is why you don't have priests do your do your stuff. You got to have businessmen, which is what the Mormons have.
Yeah.
It's all of their leaders are former businessmen and doctors.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. That's how you do it.
That's how you do it. God,
That's how you build a sustainable,
come into the modern era, Catholics. Jesus,
Yeah.
get your act together.
all these old fucking relics.
Right.
They're not making money for
No.
you. It's all overhead. All they've got is overhead.
€1
All
in
those
the
old
little jar or
fucking
whatever.
Churches
in the little
all
kaplunk.
this crap that needs upkeep.
Yeah, it's not. You're not doing it.
No, you're doing it wrong.
You're doing it
guys.
wrong.
Yeah.
All right.
Admission to St. Peter's.
Well, they do charge admission to St. Peter's, don't
To
they?
the Vatican. Museums, they do. But you can just walk right into
Oh,
St.
okay.
Peter's.
Well, there you go. Got to learn.
Gotta do something.
Got to learn.
Come on, guys. Yeah, because people aren't putting coins in they're not turning on the little candles. Yeah, anyway. They do, but it's not enough. All right, Dan.
Yeah.
Another topic that comes up a bit on this show is the movement in this country away from organized religion.
Sure.
We talk about this all the fucking time. So I'm sorry I'm bringing it up again.
Because it's glorious.
Yeah.
We're winning. At least we're gaining ground.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you.
At a record pace.
Millennials, right? We've had a lot of numbers, a lot of indicate. We know where they're at right now.
The oft
We know where
maligned
they've been.
millennials, yeah.
Right? That they're leaving religion,
Yeah.
organized religion, in record numbers.
They're the big segment of non-believers
But-
in the world.
If you
in
like
this country.
basically the social science behind the whole thing was less convinced because there tends to be some ebb and flow
Oh, sure.
with sort of each generation sort of they grow up religious.
Yeah.
Then they kind of don't do religion.
They
in their
experiment
younger years.
with lesbianism and non-religiosity in college. But then they
Maybe
settle
even
down.
their young professional years, whatever. They're just out there. They're not going to church.
Right.
That's not what they're up to.
Right.
Generally speaking. Right. But then you get married.
You have a couple
And maybe you
kids.
still don't really do much. But you got a kid. When you get the kid,
Yeah, traditionally
you were
speaking.
raised in a religion, so going to church, and so you take your kids.
Yeah.
Right. And this is sort of the standard thing, and so people were kind of looking at the millennials, and they're going, well, they're actually they're buying houses later, and they're technically their careers really aren't taking off till later,
And they're getting married later.
They're married later. They're
Yep.
having kids later. Like what the jury is still out until they start having kids in large numbers, right? Until they
Right.
start doing all these sort of standard American things that signal adulthood.
Right.
We don't really know what they're doing with religion.
Right.
Well, now we do.
The numbers are in.
The numbers are in, and the millennials are not going back.
I love it.
They are out. They're not going back. And
Right.
there's some really interesting
We could have
things.
told you that.
Well, yeah.
I could have told you that.
I know, but now we can say it with complete and full confidence.
Yeah.
There's a
There's a piece of paper.
There's paper behind it, Dan. Yeah. So some of the things that they're kind of looking at is kind of factors in this. One of them, millennials never really had strong ties to religion to begin with. They're saying.
Okay.
And this
Right.
largely has to do with the way that they were raised.
Sure.
While their parents, boomers, were likely to go to church, they didn't go in the numbers that their parents had gone.
No, not.
But it was
yeah.
still vast majorities and
Right.
everything. But
Well,
there was
and-
this little window.
And they had
right?
this sort of heartless non-conviction to the whole thing.
Right. And they often, I guess, like just sent in greater numbers, they would send their kids to Sunday school than actually attend church with them.
Right.
This was kind of a thing.
Oh, that's interesting. You go to church.
Yeah.
I'm not going.
This
You
is
have
sort-
to go to school on Monday through Friday, and then I have to look at you for a Sunday? Get out of here.
And so, but they're also, so another point here is young adults are increasingly likely to have a spouse who's non-religious. So, and they're so basically what they're saying is that like, in large part due to like different ways of meeting people, like through apps and whatnot, and through online dating and whatnot, you're aligning with people who share your values and your worldview much more easily.
Sure.
But if you have this little community and you're not meeting over a lot of these, like this issue, like did you really vet this person about their belief? Right. So what they're saying is that you're actually having the non-believers getting together instead of the believer getting together with a kind of a casual non-believer,
Right.
who ends up just going along with this whole pattern again,
Right.
of taking their kids to church and everything. So that's kind of caused this cohort, so to speak, of about 40% of the population.
What?
Not the population, of millennials.
Yeah.
That are claiming to be non-religious.
Oh, I love it.
Which is essentially the same number of millennials that are claiming to be Christian.
Damn.
Right.
So we are winning.
We're winning. There's the third thing that they brought up was sort of just changing views in general about the relationship between morality and religion.
Yeah.
And that people don't see these two things as being connected, citing, of course, the religious right,
Yeah.
and how negative and toxic they can tend to be. So unless you sort of align with them politically, and this is the divide now,
Right.
is it's a Christian conservative right
Yeah.
and a secular liberal left. And that we know this, right? This is not shocking.
No.
But it's all bearing out, and this is the pattern. This is the America that we live in.
That's great.
A conservative,
Yeah.
and essentially what they're saying is this only further entrenches the divide.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking of that divide,
Yeah.
I'm going to take us to the White House had their Hanukkah festivities, if you can call them that. If you can call it festivities when it's being held by a bunch of anti-Semites. I don't know what you call Hanukkah celebration when it's a bunch of anti-Semites. And it may seem like I'm being... Like, there may be some people out there who are like, how dare you accuse the Trump administration of anti-Semitism? I think you're kidding yourself if you say that.
Right.
You're just not paying attention. But one of the great things, just to sort of prove a point, one of the people that was called up to speak at this little soiree of Mr. Trump's was one Robert, you can't be saved if you're a Jew, Jeffers. The Dallas-based pastor.
Wait, what? No, this is a Hanukkah celebration.
Correct.
Why is there not a rabbi?
Fuck you. That's why. Because
why Jeffress? That doesn't make any sense.
Because
he knows
Donald Trump's favorite. He talks a bunch of Bible talk. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Robert Jeffress. Yeah, exactly. He has literally said the Jews will be going to hell. Like, in public out loud.
My God.
And he's the one that was chosen to speak to the Jews of this country.
Did
Because the messaging
did any
is...
Jewish people show up to this event?
Oh, does it matter? Do they? I mean,
I think it matters.
it matters. But you know, it's probably all Jews for Jesus. It's probably who it is.
Fuck me. Yeah, fair enough. Wow. Well, that's horrifying.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Jeffers was also sent.
That sucks.
If you don't, lest we forget, he was also sent to speak in Jerusalem last year at the opening of the new U.S. embassy.
Oh my God.
So, like, you know, as much fuck you as the Trump administration throws out, they've gotten real good at it. They've gotten real good at the backhanded compliment, at the pretending we're doing one thing and then making it very clear we're doing the opposite thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm horrified.
Pretty damned amazing. Well,
Hey, Dan, before we move on. I just wanted to just say that I realized while we were talking about your story, that I forgot to say that this was Pew Research.
For
my last
your thing.
one.
Okay.
If anybody out there's
the
curious,
millennials, go check in with Pew.
If you want to know where I got any of that. Pew, 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 pew.
Hey, Frank.
Dan.
I've learned something about myself
What's that?
in the past little while. Here's what I've
Tell
learned.
me, Dan.
I haven't been brushing very well. My whole life, I
Okay.
have not been brushing my teeth very well. This is
Okay.
what I have learned, and the lesson teacher of this has been Quip for me.
Okay, great.
So
So what have you been doing wrong?
So I just don't brush enough. I would just give it a quick 1, 2, 3, and I'm done. Well,
How'd you miss that lesson in life?
listen, when you have ADHD, you go as fast as you can. You try. The fact that a brush was in my mouth is a miracle.
Okay, all right.
But here's the great thing.
Okay.
I don't have to think about it anymore. I don't, like, literally, the reason that I was going so fast is that my brain wasn't in it. So I just, like, kind of keep going until it felt done, and then I'd be done.
Yeah.
But the Quip is amazing. It's, you know, it's got the supersonic speed. You put it in your mouth, and it tells you focus on a quadrant.
Yeah.
You pick your quadrant.
Yeah.
Focus on
Start
that.
there.
And it's going, and then
Don't lose track.
it gives you a little buzz.
Yeah.
Move on to the next quadrant.
Yeah.
Move on to the next one. Move on to the next one. You're done.
Yeah.
And you haven't had to keep track of anything because it's doing it for you.
Yeah. I do lower left,
Okay.
lower right,
Yeah.
upper left.
Okay. That's
That's how I
interesting.
move through my mouth.
All right.
Yeah. But
You
you're
go-
right. The timer is awesome.
The timer is great. It's a great looking toothbrush. It's actually slimline.
Mm-hmm.
It's attractive. And what do you think about the toothpaste? Because I really like it.
It's good.
It's a good toothpaste.
Yeah, no.
So here's the deal. You go to quip.com/atheist and that'll get you save on gift sets and get your first refill for free with a refill plan.
Okay.
So that's your first refill for free. You at getquip.com/atheist.
Uh-huh.
Getquip.com/atheist.
Quip.com.
Should I do it again?
/atheist.
You did it.
Yeah.
Getquip.com/atheist. You're an atheist. You need to brush your teeth. Here's the thing. If we
Yeah.
atheists don't all look our best, if we don't have our gleaming pearly whites,
Yeah.
they're not going to trust us. They'll never come around to our
Yeah.
way of thinking if we're yellow-teethed, gross people.
Well, who wants to join in with that?
No, nobody does. Nobody
No,
does.
that's rough.
Listen, people brush too hard with some electric toothbrushes are too abrasive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The research is in. Quip has done their homework, people.
Uh-huh.
So go get your Quip, sign up. Like I said, it's the holiday season. Now's a great time. You'll save on all of your gift sets if you go through us, and you'll get your first free refill.
I think that's great.
So and you support us. So go to Quip, quip.com/atheist, and you can thank us later.
Well, if you have anything that you'd like to add at this point in the show, there is more show coming up.
There is more show, but you can
Dan-
write to us. I'm just jumping in.
Yeah, tell us how to do it.
You do. You write to us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yes, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click on the like button.
And while you're there, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It is a closed group, but we will let you in.
Sure will.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, yo.
I'm going to say a name.
Okay.
Sheila Zelinsky.
Oh. I don't know who that is.
I have no idea who this is. I'm sorry,
but
guys.
I did see a picture of her.
I saw a
and
picture
she
as well.
is a peach.
Well, she looks exactly like what you would think a radical right-wing conspiracy theorist would look like, if you ask me.
She looks like... Look, we're going to play
Her hair is out of control.
Yeah. She is amazing. She kind of looks...
Bleach blonde.
She looks... Here's what she looks like. She looks like the mother of an Instagram influencer who's trying to also be like her daughter and doesn't realize that she's in her 60s.
There you go.
That's what she looks like.
Okay. Well, she's got some things to say. You know, in this country right now, Dan, Donald Trump, president of these United States.
Please don't say that. That hurts me when you say that.
He's staring down the barrel of impeachment.
Yes,
as we record.
He will be impeached for sure.
Yep.
He will not be convicted, but he will be impeached.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Well, she, being the crazy right-wing zealot that she is, she has something to say. And is that even an adequate something to say?
Here's what you got to understand about her. She had her thesaurus out when she wrote this thing.
Okay.
You guys...
Yeah, that's good. That's good. We'll go with that.
We take authority over the powers, wicked spirits, thrones, mights, dominions, rulers in the high places, in the air, on the land, in the water, marine spirits, and even underground. We bind the strong man over this nation right now, all the territorial spirits operating over the nation. We bind, cage, chain, and command every devil that is operating against Donald J. Trump. We lift up Donald Trump and his family to you tonight. Satan, we bind you, rebuke you, and render you and your demons and workers of iniquity powerless against Donald Trump. We cut off and bring to naught the power, the spirit of the witch, wizard, warlock, witch doctors, divinators, magi, all these high priestesses and high priests and sorcerers that are sending attacks and assignments against him. We cut off all these supply lines, the seals, cords, altars, ligatures, ley lines, pathways, gates, these portals. We sever the silver cords of all these human spirits that are astral projecting. In the name of Jesus, we cut off every ritual, custom, ceremony, hex, vex, spell, incantation, chant, evil spoken word, all the voodoo and hoodoo, hulu, julu, santeria, pelumeombe. Lord, right now we loose civil war into the enemy's camp in agreement. Father, we ask you to send billions of possible mighty warrior angels to make war on all these entities that are trying to destroy our president through these workers of iniquity. Even as Paul declared blindness upon the agents of darkness in the book of Acts, we too declare it. All these evildoers that are taking part in evil plots against Donald Trump, we decree and declare that they will grope about as one in the darkness, so their plans will not be carried out, including impeachment. We decree right now that our enemies are turning on each other. We send every curse back to those devils, sevenfold and more if possible, Father. We ask you to deliver POTUS from the snare of the fowler and the perilous pestilence, and that you would grant him, Father, complete amnesty from his enemies. Right now we declare massive arrest warrants. Angels, go. Deliver these massive arrest warrants right now. Lord, we thank you that you are the God who has fixed his throne upon righteousness and justice, which are the foundation of your name. And we decree and declare right now in agreement that no evil will befall this president.
Holy crap. Did she breathe at all in that entire however many minutes that was? Because I don't feel like she took a breath.
Yeah, she just went for it.
She just literally
And clearly had it all typed up.
Yeah.
That was not off the top. Come on, Sheila. That wasn't off the top of your head, lady.
But even
It's hard to
then,
do.
it was still impressive. We bind and tape and handcuff.
Hex, vex, and
Oh my God.
whatever else.
Literally every synonym she could find for any of these things.
Damn, do you know what she just did?
What's
She
that?
cast a spell. This is not a prayer. There's nothing about this that sounds like she. Okay, so she keeps saying "Father, Father" through the whole thing.
Yeah.
This is not. I mean, take it from the atheist, right? This is not a prayer.
No. She is
It's an
casting
incantation.
a spell. It is 100% what she is doing. I just looked up, by the way, she has a book out called Power Prayers, Warfare That Works.
Oh God. Oh Sheila.
Yeah.
Oh Sheila.
What's
I'm so
great
sorry,
is
Sheila.
so I went to look at the reviews for this on Amazon.
Yeah.
And and as I predicted, I saw that there were a few 1-star reviews. Mostly, by far, it is mostly 5-star reviews.
Oh God.
The 1-star reviews, though, unlike our show, where there are 1-star reviews, but they're almost exclusively by Christians who haven't actually listened to the show,
Right.
but saw the word atheist and just gave it a 1-star review.
Right.
Which, by the way, you guys go and give us 5 stars.
If you're, yeah.
We need to counteract. We need like 7 of you to give us 5 stars to counteract every one douchebag that gives us the 1-star
fair
review.
enough. Yeah.
And no 4 stars. None of that nonsense.
no.
And even if that's what we
You're
deserve.
either all in or you're not in at all.
Yeah, exactly. However, I do want to say that unlike our show, her book, a bunch of the 1-star reviews are from Christians who are like, "That's not how you pray. That's not the real way. This isn't how Jesus taught us to pray."
Yeah, it's not.
So, yeah, apparently just saying all of the words you can think of that mean bind, and all of the words that you can think of that mean spell, and all of the words that you can think of that mean demon.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it more impressive when you have more words.
I don't know. I was kind of moved by the whole thing.
It is more impressive in one way. Like, the way that it's not more impressive is, like, if there's an all-powerful, all-knowing, omnipotent God listening to you,
Right.
he's not going to be confused by what, like, there's no technicality.
Oh, she got me.
Oh, she said bind, but did she mean like a total binding, or did she mean like,
Oh,
it's
no,
different
turns
to
out-
me than that means something different to me than no, he knows what you mean.
He knows your heart.
Yeah.
He
All
knows
right.
what's in your heart, Sheila.
Sheila, get your
Sheila,
act together.
you're doing it wrong.
Sheila.
You're praying wrong.
Also, that's not your natural hair color. Just let it
go, Sheila.
Sheila,
Let go.
come back to
Sheila.
nature. Be as God intended you to be. Anyway, okay. Anyway, we had a few people write into us. Ashley wrote in, "Hey, Frank and Dan, I'm a new listener and I'm absolutely loving your podcast so far.
Yay.
So far," she says.
Oh no.
We could blow it. At any moment, we could blow it.
Ashley,
Okay,
watch out.
we're working on it, Ashley. Anyway, while I paraded around my neighborhood pushing my baby in a stroller, wearing PJs and a belt with 2 dogs attached, chuckling away at your Xmas Wars podcast, I heard the recording of Rick discussing the Jew coup. Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah.
And as a Jew, I feel really left out for not being invited to participate in such an awesome movement where the minute amount of us Jews apparently take over and rid the nation of Christians. LOL. I can't even type that with a straight face. It's so ridiculous. Anyway, thanks for always making amazing episodes. By the way, who knits or crochets a trivet? I'd totally quilt one.
Oh.
We had trivet talk at one
We
point.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
You
can
could quilt it,
You could quilt it.
but I mean,
You could
more trivet talk. We need it. You could weave one.
could
I think weaving.
weaving.
Weaving is the way to
nice.
go.
I've glued one together from disparate parts.
Welding. You could
I
weld
would-
a trivet.
Yeah, not a good idea because you're just going to transfer the heat
Yeah.
directly and burn a pattern into the top of your
You get
your fine
you
table.
get a couple of layers of grid pattern going, and maybe it can dissipate the.
I don't know.
Anyway, thank you, Ashley, for that. Yes, please join the Jew coup and get the Christians out as quickly as you can. We would appreciate it. The rest of us would like that.
We should be rooting for that, actually.
We should be rooting for it. Now that Ashley's pointed it out, it makes sense. Tyler says, "Hi, Frank and Dan. I'll be auditioning for the Utah Symphony in the near future."
Oh,
I wonder what he plays. I don't know what Tyler
how
plays.
do you tease us and not tell us?
You don't tell us. Are we going to have a new
instrument.
oboist? Is it the timpani? We don't know. Anywho, Tyler was wondering if I made it. Tyler says, how never having been part of the Mormon community how would never having been part of the Mormon community affect the quality of life? I'm kind of concerned it would have a negative impact on my girlfriend's job prospects. Thanks for your insight. Here's the thing. I
He
get
also
it.
doesn't tell us what her job prospects
No.
would normally be elsewhere.
No.
So that's tough. But as far as the social question is concerned,
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting question because this kind of question is a legit thing to ask about wherever you're moving. As atheists, we need to be aware of, like, if you move to the South, things are going to be different than if you move to, to Connecticut or whatever. And if you move to Utah, well, that's its own thing.
yeah. I mean, you say, the symphony.
That's not going to be an issue.
Right. Well, but you're going to be based in Salt Lake City.
Yes.
So there shouldn't be a problem there.
No, you'll be fine.
Stay as close to the center as you can. And
the concentric circles going outward get increasingly Mormon-y.
I mean, yeah.
But it's fine.
It's okay.
Mormons are I'll be honest with you, it's not as bad as like the South. They're passive aggressive, not aggressive. They'll totally hire your girlfriend. It won't be a problem.
Yeah.
And then they'll talk about her at church.
Right.
With each
well,
other.
and then also depending on the field, I mean, she could be,
Yeah, who knows?
she'll probably be perfectly fine.
I don't know. She
Again,
doesn't have any of those tattoos, does she? Because then she'll never get a job.
No, Salt Lake's great.
Salt Lake's good. You'll be fine. And let us know if you get into our symphony. I'm a symphony goer.
Yeah.
Do you go to the symphony ever?
No, not so much.
I usually go once a year-ish.
Oh, really?
Somewhere around that neighborhood.
I would go. I guess I've just never, had the moment hasn't presented itself.
Well, there you go. Tyler might be our in. There you go. I've known some people who were in the symphony as well. Anyway, It's a great symphony. Good luck to you.
Yeah.
We have some new donors. I'm going to start us off
Yeah. Okay.
with Parker. Who is a new donor over on the PayPal, and he's a new faithful donor. Thank you so much,
Fantastic. Thank you very much. We have also to join Parker as a new faithful. We have Seal,
Parker. Okay.
Robin, John, and David.
Oh, great.
I'm sorry, I don't.
Seal?
Seal.
Just
We're going
say
with Seal. And then we have one new venerable listener,
Okay.
Jennifer. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you so much.
And we have a new beatified listener.
Oh, praise be to she.
Michelle.
He. Oh, it is she.
Yeah. You were
Great.
right the first time.
Thank you so much. Instinctively, I knew.
Almost. Yeah. And then, of course, these people, what did they do? They went to thankgodimatheist.com. They clicked on the support tab. They joined up on the Patreon.
It should be called the Do You Want Frank and Dan to Like You More Than They Like Other People tab.
Or do you want the show to no longer ever have an ad on it?
Right?
That's pretty cool.
Ad-free
Because
shows.
As soon as you become a supporter, you gain access to the ad-free version.
Boom.
And what you're doing, just by doing that and getting yourself something good, you're getting us closer to having the show be completely listener-supported, which is where we want to be.
Yep.
So thank you, everyone who's shown up and helped out in that regard. And then, of course, we have our top donor, Dan. Our Lord and Savior,
Hallelujah.
Davis! Dan.
Hello.
Sudden, unexpected displays of devotion.
Well, I'll give you an example of just that sort of thing.
Okay.
We teased it at the top of the show.
Yeah.
Here's what happened. You and I were chilling. We're prepping for tonight's show.
Yeah.
We're figuring out what we're going to talk about for the night, for the week, for the everything. We're going back and forth. You know what happens? A parade in my backyard.
It's like,
Suddenly we're hearing drumming. I'm like, what? Look, I live in an old folks community.
right.
Ain't nobody drumming.
Right.
But we're hearing dum, 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 dum,
Yeah.
dum, dum,
And we look out and there's clearly like lights on vehicles, like Christmas type lights and everything. And I exclaim, because we've talked about them and we've never experienced them. Christmas parade.
but no,
It wasn't.
because my neighborhood is not that. My neighborhood is largely a Latino neighborhood
That's correct.
here in this state of Utah. And what we did was we looked up what Saints' Day is today.
Right. Because it was clear. It was clear it was some sort of procession.
Yes,
Not
exactly.
so much a parade.
It was a parade. It was definitely.
I mean, the two, they share a similar format.
yes.
Right.
And today, that's December 12th,
Yeah.
as we record, the Dia de la Virgen de Guadalupe.
Yeah.
It's the Virgin Guadalupe. The
Yeah.
Gua-
Yeah. And we saw her.
there she was. She processed
by.
right on past us, and as did a whole bunch of other people.
Yeah.
It did, unfortunately, rain on their parade, which is a very sad fact.
Literally.
It rained on them. But the question became, what are our feelings about when someone else's religion intrudes into our common space?
I was utterly charmed by the event.
Absolutely. I was too. And I've had that experience before of like one time I was just sort of walking down the streets in New York, New York City. And I turned a corner and went, because the entire street was closed off and there was shit happening everywhere. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but I'm on board. So I sort of worked my way through the crowd and tried to figure out what it was. And it was a saint procession. This was a small little 1-block neighborhood of people who cared about this saint. It was some Latin American group.
That makes sense to me.
Sure.
Yeah.
And, they were selling empanadas and they were selling all kinds of
my God.
It was like fun stuff was
sounds
happening.
wonderful.
And I was like, yes, I'm in. And they're carrying the big giant statue.
Now, I would say that it's exciting and charming, right? Because it's foreign to you,
Yes.
right? Because let me tell you, if that had been a bunch of Utah Mormons in bonnets walking down the street, I would not have been charmed. I would not find that charming.
I wouldn't
in
be
the slightest.
Okay, I would not find that charming. I would be delighted.
But they also don't do that.
Well, what they do, what you're referring to is kind of the Trek thing, which is Mormons actually dress up like their pioneer ancestors from the mid 1800s.
Yeah.
And they pull hand carts across, a stretch of barren desert or whatever, just to sort of experience what their forefathers experienced or whatever.
Right.
It's dumb and whatever, but I would, if I ran across them doing it, I would pull over and be like, yay! Yay! I find it all bizarre and goofy and stupid, but fun and whatever. Like, look, if people are enjoying themselves.
Okay, what if it was just a horde of 19-year-old missionaries walking down the street? I'm just trying to find something, and there's nothing that really works. I think that religious expression in other languages that I can't understand is much more interesting than if I can actually understand what's really going on.
Okay.
Right? And for there to be like some statue that's being carried around.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, isn't that? I never get to see that in my normal life.
Right.
This is exciting.
Look
right?
at how weird you guys are being.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, I hate it.
Yeah.
But it's a little patronizing.
It's
right?
totally bad. Well, I don't know. Look, culture is culture, and I'm kind of down with it. Here's the thing. I think I would hate it if I lived in an area and it was like this thing that intruded on my life constantly.
all the time. Jesus Christ, another saint?
Right. Yeah.
How
exactly.
many saints do these people have?
And there are certain things that
I know
I
that
find
would come out of
charming,
my mouth
and
at
certain
some
things
point.
that I find charming that other people don't. I used to live within earshot of a cathedral, and the bells would ring on the hour.
That's charming.
I like that.
Yeah.
Other people hate that.
Right.
Whatever. But there are moments when religion intrudes on your space, and it's just so tiring. When you go into the convenience store and you just want to buy a donut and a Mountain Dew, which I don't do, but like I used to, and you look down and you see like religious tracts sitting there that they want you to take,
Yeah.
or somebody's outside the business trying to hand you something or whatever.
God, yeah,
and
no.
like the worst, proselytization is maybe the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, but that's not what this is.
But it is. I mean,
it?
well, no. Okay, like that's what I'm saying. Like that's where I draw the line. That's where the line for me is drawn.
Right.
When you start to get me on board with your thing,
Right.
instead of just because most of these things, we're doing our thing, and if you want to participate, come on in. And if you know, or you know what I mean, like things like these processions. If you want to watch, if you want to rub elbows with the adherents, as long as you're not interfering, they're usually fine. They usually like it. But as long as you're not butting into their shit, like in a way that's inappropriate,
Right. Well, this is where
and
it's
they're
also,
not butting into your shit
Yeah.
in a way that's inappropriate.
But this is where it's helpful when you don't speak the same language. You can at least pretend like you don't.
Right, yeah, exactly. You just feign ignorance. Yeah. Did you ever pretend like you didn't speak Italian when you were in Italy?
Specifically,
I'll bet you didn't.
No,
Because there
probably
may have
not
been some
specifically.
moments.
That for what I was there doing, like
Yeah.
that wasn't really the point.
Well, right, but I'm just thinking that there might have been some moments where it was like,
Now, it is interesting to eavesdrop when people are talking about you,
right, yeah.
and they don't think that you could ever possibly know what they're saying.
Right.
That's always a different, but that's like a different thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to like make my life easier.
right.
Did I ever pretend like I? Okay.
I'm sorry. What are you saying? No speako Italiano. Yeah, I don't know. I think the language barrier is an interesting thing. I think there's something about having just even a cultural barrier where you don't know how to do it, and so you just sort of you're going to be quiet, and you're gonna you're just gonna sort of keep it at a little safe distance or whatever. That's fun.
And try to do the whatever the dance move is.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's doing the thing. Somebody grabs your arm and says, "Come on," and they're teaching you the thing and stuff.
Yeah.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
If you're up for it.
Well, and I will say that there is a difference between a festival feel and something that's a little too, serious.
Oh yeah. I mean, if it's a very sort of dour affair,
Yeah, I don't
then that's a different. thing.
want that.
No, like a funeral procession or something. Or,
You don't join in.
don't join in. Don't. Yeah.
Oh, look at this! It's charming.
If everyone's quiet and wearing black, probably don't join in.
That is the craziest hearse I've ever seen in my life. If you've ever seen a funeral in Italy, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. They do some stuff.
What? That's a hearse?
I love it.
It's huge.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think here's the thing. I think we as atheists tend a lot of atheists, you and I are not that particularly grumpy about this sort of stuff, but a lot of atheists, understandably, are sick of religion being just thrown in their face left, right, and center. Politically, it's happening all over the world.
Right.
It's just like, it's so... They go out of their way to be oppressive
Yeah.
in every sense of that word. So I
Yeah.
get that it can be a lot. It can be a bit much.
Yeah, I know. I think it's different when you grow up in a cult as well, you know?
Like we did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, when you see, like, sort of mainstream public displays of religion, you're just like...
That have
It's just like, oh,
that have a few
that's kind of cool.
Well, it's kind of nice when they have, you know, a few thousand years of history behind
Yeah.
them, and they're doing stuff that's got just so much weirdness behind it.
It's weird, strangely, for the most part, I'll say. This is truly just for the most part. It has a way of being weird without being creepy.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, Mormonism has a way of being creepy and weird and just... But maybe that's for us.
And
I know
also-
other people have said, I don't find Mormons creepy.
I know.
You know, we've had listeners, and it's just like...
I find Mormons to be...
I just find them infinitely creepy. Like, I'm just always creeped out by Mormons. I get too many of them around, and I'm just like, oh, God.
It's just so boring is what it is. It's so... Matter of fact, I drove past... I'll just relay this real quick. I drove past a billboard today that was advertising a vocal group, a local vocal group, an a cappella
Like a Christmas thing.
called Voicemail, MALE, which is the most vomitous name you could possibly have come up with for your a cappella group. But it's 6 or 20 or whatever white boys, Mormon boys.
Oh.
And I looked up like some of their songs, and I played one of their Christmas songs, and it is as boring a version of every song as you could possibly like they were like somebody tried a little trill, and they were like, oh, that's very too fancy. It felt like Amish people trying to do Christmas music. It was so white bread. It's just as vanilla as it comes, and that's Mormonism, and that's why, of course, they're not going to do anything as interesting as like a procession for the Virgin or whatever, because they don't have anything that's that interesting.
Right. You were describing this whole thing, and I literally, and I'm not exaggerating, I had a gag reflex. I was just like, I almost threw up on the microphone.
Oh, boy.
And I'm dead serious. I don't know why I had that reaction. Like, I was just like, I know what these guys look like.
Yeah.
I know how they behave in public.
Yeah, you know how they treat their wife behind closed doors. Like
Oh,
we can
my God.
tell you straight down the barrel how every one of these guys. Oh, here's my conclusion, and it may be different from yours. I don't know. You tell
Okay.
me.
All right.
I'm interested to hear where you land on this. But my conclusion is basically this: any way that we can celebrate and enjoy cultural differences
Sure.
is going to be a good thing. And
Yes.
that applies not just to culture but to religion as well.
Right.
As long as they're not proselytizing to us,
Yeah.
trying to convince us to join their creepy whatever,
Right.
cannibal cult, Catholics, then I'm down. Have some fun. Do something cool.
Yeah.
Have a festival.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Essentially, what we saw tonight, right,
Yeah.
was self-contained,
Right?
except for the fact that it was blocking some traffic,
Yeah.
right? And so it's like, I can handle a little traffic being blocked.
Yeah.
It wasn't preaching. Aside from the drums, it really wasn't really loud.
No.
Right? It was just kind of moving at a slow pace through the neighborhood.
Getting
and
rained on.
Getting rained on. And it just felt, aside from, it felt for me harmless.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, I'm totally cool with that. I like that. I like diversity in the world. I like seeing different things. I like different cultures.
Yeah.
I think all of it makes the world a much more interesting place. And to be honest, like a culture that has like fun little, funky little processions and whatnot, like I'm almost saddened by the thought of like what I ultimately want, which is fewer religious people in the world.
Right.
More people based in fact and science and reality, right?
We're gonna have to start
Like-
coming up with some atheist processions.
I kind of, it makes me a little sad to think that some of these things that are practiced around the world are going to go away.
Well,
if
listen.
we get our way.
Listen,
right? And so like,
atheists are still celebrating Christmas.
yeah,
Hopefully, these will just transition into some weird celebration of something else.
yeah, but I don't know that without devotion do I show up on a rainy night
Yeah.
to like
I mean,
walk behind a pickup with
frankly, a lot
Virgin Mary.
gotta think a lot of those people were there because it celebrates their cultural heritage more than their religion. You know
don't
what I
think
mean?
That's true at all. I think that they're there because they venerate the
Virgin?
Virgin of Guadalupe.
Well, we'll never know because they're gone now.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure that some of our listeners have some thoughts on where they fall on this, and B, maybe have some stories about when someone else's religion intruded interestingly into their lives. If you do, please feel free to write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. We always love to hear from you. The
Yep.
telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click that like button.
And while you're there on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It is a closed group. We will let you in.
Yes, indeed.
You might as well follow us on Twitter at TGIAtheist.
Yeah, so you never know.
That's fun.
We could tweet.
It happens.
It's been known to happen. Anyway, speaking of social media, thanks so much to Mackenzie for all of her work on the Facebook page. Thanks to Amy and Danny for moderating the Members Only Lounge.
And a big thanks goes out to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music and to Gordon Johnston for the use of his music.
And thanks so much to all y'all for tuning in.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.